have a problem. We got to change the pulleys. Up now in the press, so we'll take a look how this goes. So don't actually need a press to do this job. You can use a puller. One of these bearing splitters easily works with a puller. So the important thing is you want to be playing baseball with this. You want to catch it. You don't want it to hit the floor. And they are stubborn coming out, so there we go. Started to move. So press piece is out. This pushes on into the bearing here, but it's just a bearing splitter and just presses on. I used this bearing splitter to go onto here. There's lots of different ways to pull these off. This is just one of the ways. I thought I'd show a couple different ways. So these splitters are meant to get into tighter spots, whatever, but it worked great on here. I used the press, but if you see there is threaded holes in here, you could use a puller that had bolts going through to pull it off, whatever. The new alternator, it actually has really tiny threaded holes. So these aren't huge press on, especially if it's something new. It's like not a ton of force is gonna be required to get it off. So I'm just gonna do it with a puller like this. People might have one. I mean, they're a beautiful puller. Anyway, 2-jaw, I have the 3 jaws. I have lots of different pullers, but all I did is my shorter jaws didn't quite reach with the bolt the way I liked it, so I just threw a socket in there, and we'll just give this a little bit of a rattle to pull it off. It should come off pretty easy. Not a big deal. So anyway, socket. This thing, as it presses, it's supposed to tighten up, which it did. Now I'm gonna have to jig it up in the vise to get it loose. But anyways, there we go. There's an option of doing this. I can just, and then it'll be loose. So anyway, yeah, I guess I'll show this puller. As you tighten this thing, this wedges this so that this tightens up as you're tightening. So it really pulls really nice, this puller. So on this alternator with the internal regulator, we want to be careful with the brushes. Where with the insulated brush goes. So this little brush holder, an insulated brush. So that's the brush that goes on the slip rings there. Anyways, just gets bolted in, easy to take out, and not a big deal. We don't want to damage these. They're just carbon brushes, and they will get destroyed. Now, this is the one with the insulating washer. And this is a non-insulated brush. And if you look, the one slip ring is down, the other one is to the side. Realistically, you can take this apart without worrying about the brushes being broken, but they're very brittle. I don't want to break them. So I like to, anytime I'm dealing with an alternator, especially the newer ones, they have tighter tolerances. So you got to be careful when you're tightening and loosening these things, because the rotor in here will actually contact on the newer ones, tight clearances. So anytime I'm tightening or loosening, I want to break them loose with a wrench and tighten them with a wrench. And so then this just pulls off, nothing to it. So this is where the brushes ride. And there's the internal regulator inside here. And this is your rectifier. Another time is an alternator discussion if we feel like it. So now I need to set this up in the press, and I can press this on until it bottoms out against that bearing and it is on the right depth. So this is set up in the press. So what I watch for in this, first of all, I cleaned the inside of the pulley up and I lubed it up. I always like to do that. You don't want metal to come off and it'll glue to each other. It's called galling. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this back together, and then I can watch this gauge. Because the press, you don't have a whole bunch of feel. You can feel it because this is a hand pump press. You can feel it in that, but this press, it will, like, it's 55-ton press, so this doesn't take much force, so you could actually overpress it. But it is just simple, straightforward. Push it on, take your time pushing it on. We're gonna watch the gauge for when it kind of spikes. I don't think you'd hurt anything if you did press too much. It's just, you can see I hit bottom because the gauge builds pressure. So with it, before it was going on very little pressure. As soon as you push where it's on hard, the gauge goes. You can see that it has some serious pressure in it. So anyway, that was probably about 2 tons pressing it. When it bottomed out, it went to like just up a little bit, and then I pushed a little bit harder to just throw the gauge up to see it. So anyway, it is pressed on, alternator's ready to go back on. Well, back together and then back on. I don't want to break anything. I do have more of these washers. I used to, many years ago, worked in a alternator rebuild shop. We did alternators and starters. So if something does screw up here, I can get another brush set out of the back. But I think what I'm gonna have to do is talk nicely here to this, because that, I think, is definitely glued together, and it's gonna cause a bit of a conundrum fight. So I don't know how you'd get this back together without taking these brushes out. On a GM, there's pins that you put in to hold them in, but well, most manufacturers do, but these literally should pull out so you can take it apart, but that ain't happening. I guess we just gotta hold our tongue right. Wiggle, 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 see if it'll go. So the nice thing is I can kind of see from the side here. Get this lined up. The struggle is real. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this little pick in inside, push this in there, guide it all in together. pull the pick out. So that worked nicely. You could use different shape. This is a O-ring pick. 90-degree one would work really good in there. So. Lose my marbles, lose the socket. The struggle is real. We'll get it started. My fingies are tiny, so. Alright, that is in to the finger tight mark. So this one here, we'll just play nice with it, and it went straight in. Just clean up my mess. Probably have a better chance of finding everything. So I just want to look. Brush holders look really good in there. Nothing abnormal. Quarter ugga-dugga. Everything is very free, sounds beautiful. So, pulley is changed. Everything is ready to go.